welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. I'm super excited for this video. As you saw from the title, it's a fall reading vlog. This is crazy, but I've never really done the whole like seasonal reading. I just kind of have always read my rom-coms and romances around the clock all year long, never stopping to pick out like a fall read, which I know people wait all year for fall so they can cozy up and read their fall reads. I just have never done that. Maybe it's because I'm a Florida girl and it's 90 degrees for most of the year and so hot, and never, I mean, the leaves don't change here and we're not getting snow, but I feel like that's more of a reason for me to want to do these holiday reads, to escape to these places to where it does snow, to where the leaves fall. So yeah, to where you can actually wear a cute sweater, you know? I'm so excited for this, to start reading all these books and like get in the fall mood, and in real life like go to the pumpkin patch, and what other fall things do people do? I don't know. All I can think is go to the pumpkin patch right now. But I had a blast picking out these books. I had some. I also bought some in my last book haul, which was in my last like ultimate book video. I'll link that if you haven't watched that. That was so much fun, getting to look at all the fall books and Halloween books that were out, especially in the romance section. Just so cool looking at all the covers. I bought one of the books I think is one of my favorite covers like of the year. I think it's so cute, so fun. But anyways, it was just so much fun picking out all the books, and I'm excited to read them and excited to give you guys feedback so I can maybe help you narrow down your choices on what books to read this fall. I'm really hoping for a 5-star read in this pile. A gem. There's a few I'm like super. I'm excited for them all, but there's a few that I'm like really giddy about. So I'll just start off with, I think what I'm gonna do, I don't really know the order I want to read them, the exact order I want to read them yet, but I know the two I want to start off with, and I've already started one. I'm sorry, I just couldn't wait. And I want to read both the Ashley Poston, I really hope I say her last name right, Poston books first, which is The Dead Romantics and The 7-Year Slip. And I've lately heard so many good things about this, so I am very excited to start off with these two, but I've already started with The Dead Romantics and I'm loving it, you guys. So we'll get back to this, but I'm loving it. So I want to read these two first. Like if I start a new author and maybe she or he has multiple popular books, I love like reading them back to back to like just stay in the writing, especially if I like them. It's just fun. I don't know, so I feel like I'm gonna have a good time with her because I'm already loving The Dead Romantics, which that could have went either way for me really. And then I was talking about how I might have a new favorite cover of the year. I would say my covers for the year right now, and this might be basic, but I'm a basic girl, my top covers right now would be Happy Place. I just love the pink, and Emily Henry never fails at a good cover, I feel like. Also, Daisy Hates The Great Undoing. Love that cover. The statue and like the painting in the background. It's so beautiful. But this, you guys, this cover, My Roommate is a Vampire, is so cute. The girl and the vampire in the window, and just the pink and purple. If you got hot pink in your cover, like, it's hard not to get my vote, but I think this is so cute. So my hopes are so high. I think this is her debut novel. I might be totally wrong about that, but when I saw this, I was like, I actually saw it online, and we went to Barnes & Noble. They didn't have it, so I did end up ordering it online, but I just think it's so cute, and I really hope it's a good read. I don't know, I know nothing about this one, The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. But you know how sometimes Barnes Noble has the little written tabs under it that the booksellers write? I'm always very like, if I'm thinking about the book, if it has a written tab, I buy it, because I'm like, I trust these women and men, these booksellers at Barnes. And that's exactly what this one had. I forget what it said, but it was like, buy this book. So I did. It's a thick girly. I don't know what it's about. Hart is a marshal tasked with patrolling the strange magical wilds of Cambodia. It's not doing jogging stuff and become Hunter's lonely as Mercy Bird Cell. Never has a herself. She does single-handedly keeping bird salt inside of the clothing, finds some soldiers like Heart the man with knack for showing up, right? Patience is this. Began running with merciless Mercy, Hart finds himself being a letter just to a friend. Much surprised receives anonymous letter returned. Tentative friendship is born. Bill's heart now he's bearing souls the person who carries the most. So I still really don't know what this is about. But they write letters to each other. And they're enemies to lovers, I guess. Enemies to lovers trope. Alright, this is where, so I have 4 books so far. Those I'm for sure reading. Now these, if you watched my last video, you saw me pick up this book and be like, huh, I've never heard of this author, I've never seen this book, but man, these covers are so cute. And then I picked up this one and I was like, oh, this author has a vibe, because the covers are very similar and cute. And anyways, such a dummy. I'm like looking them up on Goodreads, and I don't know if it's because I didn't really have like any connection or Wi-Fi, or if I was just like looking at the wrong thing. In the video I say like they only have like 13 and 14 reviews. They're really good reviews, but they only have like 13, 14 reviews. I looked them up last night when I was thinking about like starting to read all of these books. They have like 20,000 reviews, and this is a whole series. What is the series called? Let me look it up and get this right. Is it the title of the first book? Yes, it is. Okay. The first book in this series. So these are a series by B.K. Borison, and I was like in the store, I was like, we're gonna give B.K. Borison a shot, because I thought I was like giving some author or book like a shot because it only had 13 reviews on Goodreads, and I was being a good reader and supporting authors that didn't have a lot of reviews. BK's doing fine. She is doing fine. Anyways, this has 50 reviews on Goodreads. I think it's like a 3.8 or something. But, or 4. Doing good. But anyways, this is a whole series. So there's 3 out right now. And this is the first in the series. Now you guys, this is obviously Christmas vibes. I was thinking, oh, I'll just read all 3, but this is Christmas vibes. So does this throw off my fall reading aesthetic? Important questions. This is the second one. There's a third one. But the fourth one, and this is also a problem, doesn't come out till I think June of next year. Which is a problem for me because I like a series to be, not always, but I like a series to be done, wrapped up in a bow, and just given to me. So I can read the whole series, stay in that world as long as possible, and then be done with it and not have to try to remember and revisit it in a year. I don't know. They're so cute though, and they have good reviews on Goodreads. I think I'll read the first 4 I showed you all, and then I think I'm going to end up reading them because they're thin. They're skinny little girls. I think what I'll do is I'll end up reading the Lovelight Farms series, unless it just takes me way too long to get through these 4, which I don't think it will. Let's now talk about The Dead Romantics, since I started it without you. I like to go into books completely blind. It's harder to do now that I'm like starting this channel and vlogging what I read, and I usually just like, if I hear about a book circulating, I hear good stuff about a book, I just pick it up and read it. And so I am completely surprised by everything. I'm 100 pages into this book. It's about like 350 pages. This could have been, I was like picturing 2 ghosties falling in love. Like, I had no idea. I've had this book for about a year. I remember buying it in Barnes just because I liked the cover. And then people started talking about it, and I was just like, well, I should actually wait till fall to read it because everyone said it's a great fall read. So I've had this book forever, and people love it. Like Allie Hazelwood and Christina Lauren both are raving about it on the cover. So I'm 100 pages in, and I love her writing, and I've never read a book like this before. I think she's very witty. I love her humor. I love how she writes a scene and like the details she includes, and giving spooky vibes but not spooky scary vibes. You guys, I don't even read like any thrillers or mysteries. I don't do anything scary because I will have a nightmare. I will. So this isn't like spooky scary, but it's like very cute spooky, I feel. So since I'm 100 pages in now, I can read the back of the book. So let's just read the back of the book together so you have a glimpse of what it's about. I already kind of know what it's about. Then we'll read this together and I'll give it a final little review and rating, and yeah, so okay. The Dead Romantics. Romance is dead, but this isn't what she had in mind. Florence Day, love that name, such a good name for a main character, is the ghostwriter for one of the most prolific romance authors in the industry, and she has a problem. After a terrible breakup, she no longer believes in love. It's as good as dead. When her new editor, a too handsome mountain of a man, won't give her an extension on her book deadline, Florence prepares to kiss her career goodbye. But then she gets a phone call she never wanted to receive, and she must return home for the first time in a decade to help her family bury her beloved father. For 10 years, she's run from the town that never understood her, and even though she misses the sound of a warm southern night, an eccentric, loving family in their funeral parlor, she can't bring herself to stay. Her father's gone, yet everything else feels the same, and she hates it, until she finds a ghost standing at the funeral parlor's front door, just as broad and infuriatingly, that's tough, handsome as ever, and he's just as confused about why he's there as she is. Romance is most certainly dead, but so is her new editor, and his unfinished business will have her second-guessing everything she's ever known about love stories. I was laughing because when I found out that like the tall and handsome editor of hers was dead, I was so confused, but it's been on the back of the book the whole time. I thought that was such a good plot twist, but I guess it wasn't really supposed to be like a jaw-dropping moment because it's on the back of the book. Anyways, yes, so from the back of the book, you know that she's a ghostwriter, very witty, fun. For a romance author, that's like, they compare her to like Sparks. Why can't I think of his name? Sparks. What is his name? It's coming. Nicholas Sparks. Okay, comparing him to like Nicholas Sparks, like the queen of romance. She's actually the one writing these books, these romance books. She gets a new editor, doesn't know if he actually knows if she's a ghostwriter, so she just acts like this author's assistant. Anyway, she walks into the office. They kind of have like tension between them when they first meet. Like his office is very organized, he's very organized, he's very neat and put together, and she's like a storm coming into her office, like a wreck. So the personalities were very opposite, very different, and they kind of had these, not enemies to lovers, but this like opposite tension kind of vibe. That doesn't make sense. Anyways, you know she's gonna get with this editor, right? And so when he appears as a ghost in her family's hometown, I was like, What? What? So I'm really hoping, since it's on the back of the book, I can talk about it. I thought it was like a huge plot twist. It's not. You guys are supposed to know about it. I'm really hoping he's like in a coma and not actually dead, and they fall in love as he's a ghost. But so she came back to her hometown from New York because her dad passed away. So I'm hoping like he's back in New York just in a little coma, and like they're like falling in love as he's a ghosty, and like when she gets back to New York she finds out he's like in a coma, and like she goes and I'm painting this whole picture, writing the whole rest of this book for you guys. She goes back to, does this bother you? I don't know, I kind of love it. She goes back to New York and sees this little coma body in the hospital room, and is like, and then he wakes up and they're like lovers. So that's what I'm kind of hoping is happening, because I don't want her just to fall in love with a ghosty. What do you do? What do you do? What does one do? Like I said, I'm on page 108 to be exact, and I'm gonna keep reading this. I'm gonna go ahead and just read in my little reading corner here, and then when I finish and wrap this book up, we'll talk about it, and I'll say what I think, if it's a good fall reading option. I already know it is just by her writing, unless she really screws up the ending and the plot just goes haywire. I'm already guessing this is a pretty good fall read for y'all. But let's see, let's continue reading. Let's have a time. Let's have a time. Okay guys, it's a few days later and I finished The Dead Romantics, and really my summary is just a big fat yes. If you are looking for a fall read, this is it. I loved this. Again, I think I already mentioned her writing style. I loved it. Her writing style is quirky and fun. I really enjoyed the characters. I feel like I will never forget about Florence and Benji. And I will never forget about this story. It wasn't a 5-star for me, but still the story was so unique and so fun, and just, I loved the family. It gave kind of like Addams Family vibes. I loved the small town setting. I loved the romance. I really really enjoyed this book. The plot, the setting, the characters, I loved it. Her scenes that she wrote were just so fun, and her wit and humor was not cheesy or overplayed. It was just good. And I really think if you're wanting a fall read, The Dead Romantics is a great option for you. I loved it, and I think I've said that about 5 times now, but it's a big fat yes. Drum roll please. It was a 4-star read for me. It really started off as like a 4.5. Some of it got a little repetitive, and I'm very picky with when I rate. Sydney's star rating, very picky. I think a lot of people would give this 5 stars. It's a great book. It's quirky. It's fun. It's a great fall romance. And for that, it is 4 stars. And I will truly, this will not be a book I forget about. And that is saying a lot when I read tons and tons of romance. So, yes, I'm so happy I read this book. Definitely not one regret when it comes to this book. Now, The 7-Year Slip is my next read for this fall reading vlog. Sorry about the shadow. I'm really trying to figure out lighting in this house, and it's kind of difficult, but I'm a new tuber. I'm a new YouTuber, so be patient with me. I'll get it down eventually. I'm not like, am I supposed to buy like lighting? No, I'm not doing that. I let God light my videos. Sunshine, you know? Anyways, that was an unnecessary tangent. I just started the 7-year slip. I'm about 100 pages in, and again, I'm loving her writing. It's easy to read, it's fun, the jokes are not overplayed, the jokes are not cheesy, and I think I'm saying that because the last book I read, I'd heard the jokes, certain scenes, I'd seen it, I'd read it, I'd heard it before, and her writing is, again, unique. I'm excited because the setting of this book is in New York City. I did go into this book knowing a little about it. I knew that she moved into basically a magical apartment where every time she entered it, she was thrown back 7 years. Every time she entered it, there's a guy there, was my understanding. So that's kind of all I knew going into it. I thought it was a fun, whimsical premise. I can read the back of the book. I feel like sometimes that can be boring if I just read to you guys, but if you find it boring, just do the 10x, skip over it, because maybe you guys want to know a little more about the book. Okay, it says, same place, different time. Sometimes the worst day of your life happens and you have to figure out how to live after it. For Clementine West, that means burying her head in her work as a book publicist, being practical and forgetting the silly things her beloved Aunt Analia taught her, like living wide and chasing the moon. Clementine would rather stay grounded and keep her heart safe. For the last 6 months, she's done just that. But when she moves into her late aunt's apartment and finds a strange man standing in the kitchen, a man with kind eyes, a southern drawl, and a taste for lemon pies, her well-laid plans begin to fall apart. Because he's the type of man who, before it all, she would have fallen head over heels for, and she still might. Except he exists in the past, 7 years in the past, to be exact. And she, quite literally, lives 7 years in the future. Her aunt always said the apartment was a pinch in time, a place where moments blended like watercolors. She also said that love is never a matter of time, but a matter of timing. And Clementine fears she may be 7 years too late. Well, that was beautiful. So yes, I'm 100 pages in. I am loving the male character. Loving him. So far, he is just a sweetheart. He is genuine, lovable, kind, understanding. I'm only 100 pages in, guys, so this could change. I don't know. I'm just excited about this read. I think I'm finding an author that I really like, which is always exciting. And I think I mentioned before that when I was starting the Dead Romantics that I was like, I wonder if this was like her debut novel. I never really heard of her before this book. But I went to her Goodreads page and she has so many books, and a lot of them are fall themed, Halloween themed, which is very exciting. So next year when I go to do my fall reads again, I might pick up another one of her books. But yeah, I'm excited to keep going with this. I'll keep reading, and when I finish it up, we'll come back and I'll give my thoughts and my rating, I guess, and we'll see. Yes, I am loving. So let's keep reading. He's so cute. This man's is gripping my heartstrings. He's so cute. Ugh, the way he talks. That's it. I have to get up and underline that. That was the cutest thing I've ever read. Okay guys, we have so much to talk about. We left off with me reading The 7-Year Slip, and then I was feeling sick the last few days, so it's been a few days, and I did read My Roommate is a Vampire. But don't get mad at me, we'll still talk about it. You'll still get my opinion and my thoughts. So we have 2 books to talk about and some other things to talk about that I'm kind of excited about. I just want to get right into it, okay? This book, I'm just gonna, 5 stars. It's a 5-star read. I don't know what else to say. This is everything I would want out of a romance rom-com. It was just incredibly special and different, and it was really the male character in this book that really drove it home for me. I fell in love. It's just such a cool idea to have your character going back in time and then going back to the present. This, I guess, magical realism. Did I just make up that term? But it's like, it's modern day, it's real time, but there's like some sprinkle of magic. I would say the things that made me fall in love with this book was the male character. I feel like I just haven't read a character that's just young and earnest and genuine and has a way with words in a while. And you guys saw me when I started reading it. I never feel like I have to get up and like underline things or highlight things. Annotating usually distracts me and takes forever for me and kind of takes away from the story and just reading in general. So it's just personally not what I usually do. But this man the things he was saying, I was like, I need to get up and underline this. He had a way with words, and again, just so earnest and honest and lovable, likable. Loved him. That was probably the thing I liked most about this book, is the characters in general. I loved the girl in this. Her name is Clementine, which I thought was cute and not too like you're trying a little hard. I don't know, it just fit her. The backdrop of just New York City, being in the city, the setting. Ashley Poston writes in such a beautiful way, always describing the beautiful lighting and the beautiful just setting around the characters, and it makes things romantic. It makes things just more beautiful, and I loved it. And also, this wasn't just like romance, there was more to it. It kind of reminded me of like, there's such different books, but you know, Happy Place had, and Emily Henry's Happy Place had such an amazing message along with kind of the romance. And I felt like that in this book too. I feel like there can always be a powerful message when a person slips back into time and then back into, not reality, but the present, slips back into the present. You can just like learn a lot, and I think she just portrayed a great message, and it was just a good romance, you guys, a good rom-com. Again, I love this author's humor. It's funny. She is funny, and I love this book. It's 5 freaking stars, you guys. 5-star read. I cannot believe we have a 5-star read in my first reading vlog. You guys, I've almost read 70 books this year, and I've only given 5 books out of the 70 books I've read 5 stars. So this is big. This is big. Love this book. Her next release, I'm gonna go ahead and pre-order it. I don't know what it is. I was looking her up. Oh, this is a whole nother thing. I was looking her up on Instagram, stalking. So I do need to see if she does have another release planned, because I'm just gonna read her books because I love the Dead Romantics. Loved The 7-Year Slip. And I can't wait for this to be in my bookcase. I think I'm gonna face it out because it's just such a good read. But that leads me to when I was stalking her. Where's my phone? When I was stalking her on Instagram, she did this collab with this company called Fairy Loot, and maybe you guys have heard of it. They do have a ton of followers, almost 500,000 followers. I don't know why I haven't seen them before, but anyway, she did this collaboration, and I'll put it here or somewhere, of this special edition book that she did with them. You don't understand. I would give my right pinky. Take my right pinky for this special edition. It is so pretty. It's so pretty, and of course it's not even on their website anymore. It's long gone, but it is so pretty. Pink being my favorite color, what they did with the back of it, the lemons on the pages, all the significance. If you haven't read the book, you don't know about it, but like, I want this special edition, and I know I'll never get it, but gosh, I loved it so much, and I love it so much, and I'm becoming such a fan of special edition books. I was just going through Fairy Loot's page, and of course they have a special edition of, or they did a special edition of My Roommate is a Vampire, which is what I read next without you guys. Don't be mad. And again, so cute. So cute. I really want to start getting into like special editions and having a huge collection of them. They do subscriptions, and then they do just like single special editions that you can buy. I was trying to get a subscription. I was trying to just get my hands on anything that's cute, but it's like, you know, I would have never just ordered this when the book came out, ordered the special edition when the book came out, because I want to like the book first, I guess. Read it, like it, and then buy it. But at that point, they're all sold out. So I don't know. I was even showing my husband, I was like, this would be a really good Christmas present if you can somehow get me off the wait list for this. They do a young adult and an adult fantasy subscription box, so you can choose either one, and they're doing a whole ad here. It's a monthly subscription, so you get like these special editions every month. I think that would be so much fun, and it's not super overpriced. Like usually special editions, the one I bought, Love in Other Words, and that doesn't even have painted edges. I bought that from Steamulet, and I think that was close to $60, and it doesn't even have a signature or painted edges, and that 7-year slip one had painted edges, whole new cover, and a signature from the author. So I mean, that is just awesome. Oh, and it was $29. Crazy. And the subscription is $28 to $29. So anyways, just did a full ad for Fairy Loot, but they deserve it. I was just going through their Instagram page. They are so creative, such incredible minds over there. I could not believe it. Their stuff is just gorgeous. But anyways, I'll get off that tangent. I just thought maybe if I was so hyped up about that, you guys might be too. I thought that was so cool. So I did read My Roommate is a Vampire, and you guys, I was really excited for this one. I love the cover. I've never really read a book like this before. I've never read anything Halloween-y, anything just so out there like this, I guess I would say. And if you guys are interested in this book, I'm just gonna tell you, you've gotta throw all logic out the window. Nothing makes sense, and it's not supposed to make sense. This book is supposed to be quirky, it's supposed to be silly, it's supposed to be absolutely ridiculous, and it is. And I was really enjoying it up to like literally the last 40 pages. Like, I was laughing. It's a really funny book. Again, it's a rom-com set in the city. This time it's set in Chicago. The main character, Cassie, is needs to find an apartment. She keeps getting kicked out of her apartments for not paying rent because she can't afford it because she's working 2 jobs in the city. She can't find a steady art teaching job, and so she finds this ad on Craigslist. It's kind of off. The rent is only $200 and it's in a really nice part of Chicago, but she really has no other choice, so she ends up moving into this apartment, and the man that is her roommate talks like he's out of the, like, Bridgerton. He talks super strange, is super formal, constantly wearing a 3-piece suit. Just nothing about him like fits in this current age. She thinks her roommate's a vampire. It was a really fun read. I know this book is supposed to be ridiculous and supposed to be silly, and I was along for the ride. I was completely along for the ride. But the last like 40 or 30 pages towards the end, I was getting excited. I was like enjoying it. The end was personally so cringy to me that I was reading it and I had to take breaks from the cringe. I like would put the book down and like get on my phone and then like keep reading. I got through it, but I was just disappointed in the ending. I thought the ending could have been better, but it was still a fun read. It was still funny. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I was thinking 3.5, but the ending just really, it disappointed me. So yes, I'm gonna go with 3 stars on this one. Not a 2-star read. It's too funny and quirky in the beginning and just different to give it 2 stars. So I'm gonna keep it at a 3-star. Still a really fun book. I'm still glad I read it. Like, I don't regret reading it. So if that means anything to you. Now, on to the next. I started The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy last night. I'm only like 15 pages in, 12 pages in. It is wildly different from the first 3 books I have read. Wildly different. It's in a fantasy world, but it's very realistic. I'm trying to get a grip on it. I'm getting like, the fantasy feel I'm getting is like Shrek. It's not like a world where you need a map, or a world, like it's not like an Akatar or a Throne of Glass. It's just in a fantasy world where I'm guessing there's gonna be magic. There hasn't been any talk of it. All I've gotten so far is the 2 main characters are Heart and Mercy. Heart is like in the military, is a marshal, and he patrols their town. Then Mercy is an undertaker, and so she buries bodies, and Heart, the first chapter of the book, Heart brought Mercy a body to bury that I guess he just found. But I'm trying to get a grip on it. I'm not understanding some of the words, and I'm only 13 pages in. But then I was like, why am I not understanding some of these words? And I went to Google them, and like the book comes up, like it's just their language, the gods that they use in this book. And then I Googled like the car he was driving, and it didn't even come up. So I think some of the words are honestly made up. So I'm not completely dumb, because at first I felt like, gosh, I'm an idiot, but I can't even read this like fantasy. But no, or I can't even read a romance, but no, it has a lot more fantasy. Like this is fantasy. These just had sprinkles of magic in them, I guess. And I think this is going to be the real deal. It is a lot longer, over 400 pages, but I'm excited for it. The Goodreads reviews are high. I think it's almost a 4.2 with 17,000 reviews. So again, I'm only 13 pages in. I think I'll film myself reading some of it, and we'll get through it, and I'll let you know my thoughts. And if I end up understanding anything, because I think, in the beginning of this video I tried reading the back and I just didn't understand it. I just knew like they end up writing letters to each other. It's enemies to lovers, Heart and Mercy. They end up writing letters to each other that they don't know they're writing letters to each other. It's anonymous. So I think that leads to them falling for each other. But anyways, yes, I'll keep going with this book. Yeah, the other two things I wanted to mention was, okay, I'm not gonna read, I don't know if I've said this before. Yes, I did say it, that I'm not gonna read In the Weeds. I'm gonna wait to read that Lighthouse Farms? I don't know. I'm gonna wait to read that series probably towards the holidays. But then I remembered I had, what's the name of the book called? I remembered I had Wildfire by Hannah Grace on pre-order, which I think is kind of a fallish book. That gets here October 3rd and it's September 23rd right now. Happy birthday, Dad. So we'll see if I end up reading that. That might be the last book that I read in this fall vlog. But everyone has been talking about this book and I didn't need to buy it, but of course I did. And that is, let's see, I haven't even looked at it yet. Oh, it's so cute. You Again. I'm excited for this. Suddenly this book is everywhere and I was like, okay, I need to order it. I need to read it for this reading vlog. Look, it's just the perfect fall cover. And all I know is it's a romance. All I know is that Allie Hazelwood is on the front, fresh, witty, and utterly romantic. You Again by Kate Goldbeck. And I'm very excited. So I'm gonna read this one next after I finish The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, and then maybe we'll finish it out with Wildfire. That's kind of my plan right now. This has been really fun so far. I mean, yes, I didn't love My Roommate is a Vampire, but I mean, it wasn't terrible. So, and I love the first two books. So you guys, we are on a roll and I'm feeling good for the rest of these books in this reading vlog. I mean, reading 6 books for reading vlog, I feel like that's good. You guys will kind of get your options if you want 1 or 2 books to read in the fall. Then you can kind of make your opinions off the ones I read, and then look at, you know, other booktubers and what they're reading. And I just hope I contribute to your decision making. And it's been 90-degree weather, but today, September 23rd, happy birthday, Dad, has been the first day of the year with that fall crisp. And I mean that a Florida fall crisp. Let's see. It's 82 degrees, guys. That is huge. That is huge. That is cold for us. So it's so nice. It's so breezy out. It feels like Thanksgiving, and you guys are probably laughing your butts off by me just saying that because it probably snows where you're at on your Thanksgiving, but it doesn't here. It just feels nice and crispy, and I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt for this 82-degree weather. So yeah, I'm excited to keep reading. So we'll do, oh, broke my phone, and we'll do just that. So, all right, let's keep going. Okay, I just finished The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, and I don't know if I should think more about my opinions, but I guess I'll just say my initial opinion was I really didn't, it just wasn't for me. I didn't love it. While I was reading, I was like, oh, this is probably like a 3-star book. You know, it's not something I love. There's aspects of the book that I like, aspects of the book I dislike. But the end, I did not enjoy the end at all. And as I read the book, it's a bad sign when you just keep looking at the page number. Like, how far along am I? How far along am I? And I just kept doing that. And I'm sad and disappointed that I didn't love it, because I think a lot of people do. There's a second one coming out in July of 2024. Maybe I'll give it another shot. I'll just start with, yes, it was enemies to lovers. To me, that's a hard trope to pull off for me as a reader, because so many times I'm like, why were you even enemies? It doesn't even make sense to me. Like, why do you even dislike each other in the first place? Was it just a small little miscommunication? And if it was, that drives me nuts. And to me, these characters, Heart and Mercy, I just felt like, why did you even hate each other in the first place? Like, the book tried to explain it, and I still was like, that still doesn't make sense to me. So there was that aspect. The world building, I didn't really get at all. It is a fantasy. There's talking animals, there's pink hills, there's horses that can swim, there's all these fantasy things, and they talk about gods constantly. That's a huge part of the book, but it wasn't magical, like, at all. And it's funny, it's really like, it kind of reminded me of like Shrek, like with the talking animals. And I couldn't get a grip of, like, you know, in some fantasies there's like no technology at all, but in other fantasies it's like modern day, and I couldn't get a grip of, are we in modern day or like back in the past? It just wouldn't come together for me. So I think the world itself, the enemies to lovers, I kind of felt like it was dragged out. I just kept looking at the page numbers, and the end really solidified it for me. I just was so disappointed in the end and kept having to stop and restart when there was only like 30 pages left. Like, trying to get through the last 30 pages, I was just like, it was difficult. So yes, this book was definitely not for me, but doesn't mean it wasn't for you. There were aspects of this book that I liked. I liked the characters. I thought the characters were really well written, and I liked them. I liked their characteristics, how quirky some of them were. I liked, you know, how kind and brave and courageous, and like, I liked the characters. I liked Mercy's family was a big part of the book. I loved her family, and I liked the characters, but there wasn't much else that I liked about this book. The romance didn't flow the way it needed to flow for me. So yeah, I think I'm going to end up giving The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy 2.5 stars. And I feel like that's so harsh, but if I just think about it, it's a 2.5 star read for me. For me. There were great messages in this book and great things that came full circle, but again, like, it's me trying to convince myself not to give it a 2.5, but it's just a 2.5 read for me. For me. Doesn't mean it's for you, but it was for me, and maybe I'll give the second book a chance. I know the second book has dragons, which is exciting in this fourth wing world that we're living in, and also the characters, it takes on like another couple that were in the book just for a little bit, but it's friends to lovers instead of enemies to lovers, which I enjoy more personally. If it's child friends to lovers or just friends to lovers in general, I usually like those more than enemies to lovers, which I know people love enemies to lovers. But all that to say, I'm so excited to finally start You Again. I am so excited for this book. Everyone's talking about it. No idea what it's about. I'm just gonna go in blind, knowing it's a romance, knowing it has a very fallish cover, and hope for the best. So that's where we're at. Let's keep reading. Okay. Right? So, it's been 3 days since I finished You Again, and I thought I would take the 3 days to really get my thoughts together, but I'm still a little confused on what I think about it. I'll start off by saying that this was not what I expected at all. I mean, it's a romance, it's a rom-com, but it is just, I was expecting cutesy, fluffy romance, falling in love in New York City in the fall time, and it's just not that. It is wildly modern and realistic, I think are the words to describe this type of romance book. There's nothing really cutesy, it's not sugar-coated, it's not fluffy. I don't know what to say. It was not what I expected. I found it hilarious. It was just not what I necessarily expected. This is where I get confused. Sometimes giving books ratings is just so silly to me because, and I only say that because I don't know where I'm falling with this guy. I started reading this book and I thought I was gonna hate the characters. The main characters are Ari and Josh. It starts off when Ari is 19 years old. She wants to be a comedian. She's just moving to New York City, and she does not believe in romance. She does not believe in monogamous. She does not believe in monogamous relationships, and she's kind of a person that looks at everything in a negative light, and I have hard times with those kind of characters. When I read that she's a comedian, I was terrified because if she's not funny, then it's gonna ruin the whole book for me. So yeah, that's Ari. Then we have Josh. He is the complete opposite of Ari. He believes in happy ever afters. You find your soulmate. Every person has a soulmate. Believes in romantic gestures and romantic moments. He's more like a one-track mind, level-headed, when Ari's kind of like wild and can be all over the place. And Josh is a chef and he does everything very orderly. So they meet at a very young age and they keep meeting over the years. So, hence the title, You Again. And so I've never really had a main character like Ari not only doesn't believe in romance and doesn't really believe that you can stick with one person for the rest of your life. She also doesn't believe in monogamous relationships. So that was definitely an adjustment to get to, especially when you're like rooting for two people to fall in love. So it started off with me thinking I was gonna hate these characters. Well, not necessarily Josh, but Ari. Because I think it's pointless to read a book with a main character that just looks at everything negative. Can't see good in anything. Anyways, I keep reading and I am starting to really like this book. Ari isn't driving me crazy like I thought she was going to be. She's honestly hilarious, which, thank God, because she's supposed to be. She's supposed to be a comedian. And I'm reading this book, and the whole time I'm reading it, I'm thinking, I see this as a movie. Like, the scenes were written so well. I was like, I see myself sitting on the couch, logging on to Netflix, and like watching this rom-com. Like, the scenes were just written so well. You could picture just where they are at and how they're talking to each other and the tones that they were using. It felt very cinematic to me. Is that the right way to say it? When I got to the end and I was reading the notes about the author, it said that she studied film school. Well, she studied at film school, which totally makes sense to me because I like see this being a movie. Anyways, going on with the story without giving anything away, I loved the banter between them. I loved the contrast between the two characters and how Josh is so serious and how Ari wasn't, and how she could just make him smile, this serious guy that never gives a smile or gives anyone a laugh. She could get to laugh. Love the moments they had together. And so, like, when I was reading this, I was excited to read it every night. Like, I was looking forward to reading it. But then we get back to like Ari's core values. And I'm not saying like your core values have to align with a character. That's not what I'm saying at all. That really bothers me when people can't accept fiction for fiction. You can still like the book if you don't agree with the character. But when it comes to a romance and trying to sell a happy ever after, that's exactly what this romance is trying to do. This isn't a series. This is a standalone romance. I'm not completely sold. When I get to an end of a romance, I like to picture them getting married and having kids and having a life together and growing old together. And I wasn't sold on this couple being able to do so. And I think it's because, not just in the beginning of the book, but all throughout the book, Ari really just doesn't believe it's possible to have a soulmate, a person. Or these are things that are really being discussed today, I guess. If you can have a healthy relationship with a person and also introduce other people in the relationship and it still be healthy. When I was in the midst of this book, when I was in the middle of it, I was like, this is a 4-star read. This is a 4-star read, which is really good. But the fact that I got to the end and I wasn't sold on the fact that they would be together forever, and that's how I want a romance to make me feel. That's what I was like, I don't think I can give this book a 4-star rating. So I just went down to a 3.5. I'll just say this. I'm giving this book a 3.5 because I thought it was very well written. It was an easy read. The characters were so interesting and had their own mannerisms, their own attitudes, their own tones in which they talked, and were so incredibly different, but that made them really good together and made for incredible interactions together. And I love the backdrop of New York City, and it was just very good. But because the ending didn't sell me on these two living happily ever after, I'm giving it a 3.5. Not every book couples have to end up together forever. This book was trying to sell you on a happy ever after, and I wasn't sold on it. This book baffles me. It's just a romance and it baffles me, but it's so, all these fluffy romances right behind me, this is one of a kind. I will tell you that. And I think this author, is this her debut book? If so, I'm excited for what she writes next. I'm going to read it. I think she can make some films. Like this, I've said it a million times now. Be a movie. Alright, final book. I've changed what I'm reading so many times by now. You guys are probably sick of me, but My final book is going to be The X-Hex. I was going to read, what is it? The second book to Icebreaker, which I didn't know was the second book. I thought it was Wildfire, that's what it's called. I didn't know it was the second book. I knew it was the same author. I thought it was a standalone, but it's the second book, so I want to read Icebreaker first, then read Wildfire. I'm going to read Icebreaker for my holiday reading vlog, which I don't know if it's very Christmassy, but she's on ice skates, and to me, as a Florida girl, if you're on ice skates, you're in a winter wonderland, it's snowing, I don't know. I just connect ice skates with Christmas and winter, and so I was going to read Wildfire. Not going to do that anymore. I'll probably add that in my holiday reading vlog. I decided on the X-Hex. It's a shorter little rom-com, and I feel like I haven't really heard anyone say a bad thing. Everyone just says it's a cute romance. I read the prologue last night. This is definitely, like, I haven't read a rom-com with witches, and this really gives very Halloween vibes. It's in the fall right now while I'm reading it. So I'm excited for this book, and I'm glad I'm going to be able to read 6 books for y'all to give you as much as so I can throw as many opinions at you guys as possible, and maybe it helps you pick out a fall read. But yeah, I think it's going to be a cute read, cute, fast read, and I'm sorry I rambled about You again. I'm just still like, I think because it's so different from the romances I've read, that it just has my mind all in a bind. Oh, she rhymes. Oh. Spitting. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read the X-Hex, let you guys know my thoughts, and then we're gonna pull all 6. I just got bit by an ant in my house. Ow. I'm gonna pull all 6. I'm gonna pull all 6 books together and kind of compare them all, put them in order of favorite to least favorite. I can't get anything done around here. Tell you guys my favorite to least favorite and give you more of my opinions. I don't even know if you guys want, but you're here and you're watching, so I'm assuming you do. So I'm gonna read this, and then we'll almost be done with my first ever reading vlog. Woohoo! Alright guys, I finished the X-Hex. I wasn't in love. I wasn't in love. It didn't do a lot for me. And I don't know if it was because I've read 6 fall like rom-coms in a row, and I got to this one and I was just like, let's just make it through. Let's reach the finish line. But I don't really think it was that. I just don't think it was necessarily the book for me. I thought there was gonna be a lot more like fun magic. There ended up being like ghosties and possession. I just, the romance wasn't very like, it was very surface level in my opinion. I feel like they were just like physically attracted to each other. I didn't know why they were emotionally attracted to each other. The main characters, I didn't hate them. I just thought they were surface level characters. The story, I just didn't love. Again, I thought there was going to be a lot of like more, I thought it was going to be more whimsical is what I would say. And magical. The magic was going to be fun, and there was some like little fun spells that they would do every once in a while, but it was just an okay read for me. So I gave it 3 stars. I almost bumped it up honestly because I started reading about the author and she went to Auburn, so War Eagle, but I just couldn't. And I mean, the best line of the book is right on the back, and it says never mix vodka and witchcraft, which I think is hilarious. But that's about as good as it got for me, which it sounds so mean. It just, you guys, so many people love this book. So that doesn't mean you won't love it, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. But it wasn't awful, so it's a 3 stars. But you guys, we did it. I'm gonna be honest, I did it. I read 6 fall romances for y'all, and I hope that you can take something away from this video. I hope maybe you pick up one of these, or that you just enjoyed this video. I thought I would just go ahead and put them in the order that I liked them the most, or disliked them. No, the order I liked them to dislike. Gosh, I need a nap. Okay, so the first book that I loved the most, a 5-star read, drum roll please, The 7-Year Slip. Amazing. Mwah! She will forever go down as one of my favorite books. I already know that I'm going to face her out in my bookcase, and I'm very excited about that. So she's number 1. Number 2 be The Dead Romantics. Same author, Ashley Poston. Slaying the game. Slaying the Halloween fall game. Number 3. Yeah, I think number 3 is You Again. Very cute, fall, funny, romance, rom-com. Some things I didn't love, but I was excited when I was reading it. It was an easy read for me because I wanted to come back to it and keep reading it and see where the story went. So this is number 3. Number 4, I'm gonna give to My Roommate is a Vampire. It's a big cheese ball. It's cheesy, cheesy, cheesy. If you're looking for cheese, okay, I need to stop with the cheese. But seriously, it is cringy at points, but it's cute. If you see a book named My Roommate is a Vampire, you know this author isn't going for a Pulitzer Prize. It's gonna be like goofy, it's gonna be silly, and that's exactly what it was. So she gets my 4th spot. And then 5th will be The Ex-Hex. So she didn't come in last. She did not come in last. But who did was The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. The longest one too. Sad, it's tragic. But there's the order. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp them and put them in my bookcase. The bookshelf, they are stamped. You guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any fall recs, put them down in the comments. I would love to hear it, and I'd love to hear if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts are. I love every single one of you, and I'm sending you love. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.